Hey, how's it going, everybody? Cole and Sam, we're coming at you with our monthly edition of Above the Noise, is what we call it. And what a perfect name for this month, because if you've been paying any attention to the headlines out there, you have seen that the National Association of Realtors, otherwise known as NAR, has come to a proposed settlement on a previous lawsuit that's ongoing. And this proposed settlement is going to come into effect in July of this year, is what they're talking about. And this settlement is changing two things, if you've read anything about this in the news. The first thing is that you as a buyer are going to have to sign an agreement similar to you as a seller on the listing side with a buyer's agent in order for them to render you any services. So meaning you want to go look at a house, you have to sign an agreement, and that agreement's going to have a compensation package involved with it and how that's going to happen. Okay, so that's a big shift. Not every agent does that. We do that on certain occasions for particular situations. But this is going to be across the board nationally. Every real estate agent and every buyer, they're going to have an agreement in place. Okay. The second thing that it's addressing is advertisement of buyer's agent compensation. Historically speaking, the seller has offered a buyer's agent compensation for bringing the buyer and helping conduct that sale. And that comes from the proceeds of their home. That still may not change, but what is going to change is how it's advertised, and meaning that it can no longer be on the MLS, which is what you often see now, and then that gets syndicated out to the sites such as Zillow and Trulia and Redfin and you name it. So that's going to also change, meaning the buyer's agent's not going to know up front whether or not there's compensation being offered from the seller necessarily. So a lot of these topics are going on. Ultimately, nobody really knows what's going to happen. So if you hear in the news that, oh, the sky's falling and the prices are going to come down with real estate too, that may not be true. It's likely not true, to be quite honest and frank with you. So Cole, give us your perspective. How do you see this impacting our local real estate market, buyers and sellers?
Gosh, it's a great question. I think the first thing for everyone to take note of is just to take a deep breath. There's so much noise in the media right now. Everybody loves to talk about real estate, of course. The news is no different, regardless of where you get your news from. I think at the end of the day, this obviously could have a huge impact on our industry. We're trying to be calculated. We're trying to take a step back. It's too early to really know how this is going to impact buyers and sellers. I will say for sellers, our gut is telling us that the sellers are going to continue to offer compensation for a buyer's agent to be represented. I think there's going to be some small changes within the way that the business is conducted. I don't think it's going to be something offered on every single property, but I think that the majority of transactions that take place in Central Oregon will most likely include compensation for buyer's agent commission. On the buyer side, going back to that agreement that you discussed, you are going to have to enter into an agreement with an agent, whether it's us or anybody else, and that buyer broker agreement is going to specify how that real estate agent is compensated. And if it means that the listing agent on a particular property, the seller on a particular property is not offering to pay for the buyer's agent's commission, you are going to be in a contract with the real estate agent to pay for that representation. And I know that feels like a huge shift, and it is a huge shift. It's something that we're going to help you navigate. I think that that's going to be the exception, not the rule. That's what our gut's telling us at this point, but we're really watching it closely. It's obviously incredibly important to us. There's a lot of intricacies to the situation, a lot of details, a lot that's just unknown, to be frank, that hasn't been determined yet. So we're going to help you guys stay up to speed. We're going to come back here next month. We're going to do this again. We're going to bring to light more of what we found out. And, this is Above the Noise, and we hope that you guys continue to trust us with your real estate needs and beyond. So we're excited. We're going to wade through this, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, we would just love to hear from you. We've already heard from some of you immediately. Hey, what does this mean for me? I'm planning on buying or selling here in the near future. So we love to have these conversations with you. So we always encourage you at the end of these, call us, pick up the phone. Happy to talk to you about how this applies to your current situation. We'll be your advisors through that. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
Have yourself a great rest of your month.
Take care.